You crawl into your bed, lock the heavy front door, and turn off the modern lights. You pull the warm blanket up to your chin, completely taking your safety for granted. But for over 99% of our deep history, this peaceful night did not exist. For hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors lived in a world without a single locked door or brick wall. They slept completely naked out in the open grass, listening to the terrifying sounds of the dark. And just 40 meters away in the shadows, giant predators with 6-inch claws were deciding if we looked like an easy snack. We were not the masters of nature. We were simply another item on the menu. So how did we actually survive the deep dark? The answer will change everything you think you know about human evolution, social connection, and what it truly means to be human. To truly understand how we escaped the dark, we have to look at the terrifying crime scene of our prehistoric past. Let us step out of our modern comfort zone and look at the brutal facts. We often look at old museum drawings and imagine our ancestors as massive, muscle-bound heroes. We see them confidently waving spears and fighting off saber-toothed cats like they are movie characters. But the real fossil record tells a completely different story. It shows that for a very long time, we were just helpless targets. Go back about 2 million years into the Pleistocene epoch. Early human species like Homo habilis were small, thin, and fragile. They had no sharp claws, no thick fur, and no heavy armor. Their brains were still developing, and they did not know how to make fire or build shelters. Anthropologists like Donna Hart have proved through fossil discoveries that our early relatives did not hunt large animals. They were prey. They spent their days running, hiding, and scavenging for leftovers. The monsters they shared the land with were far more terrifying than any animal we can see on a safari today. Imagine a landscape crowded with giant killing machines. There was Pachecruta brevirostris, an ancient hyena that lived across Europe and Asia. Paleontologists have found its fossils dating back to the early Pleistocene, and the bones show it was the size of a modern African lion. But its real power was in its mouth. Studies on its skull mechanics show that its jaws could crush the solid femur of an adult elephant like a dry piece of wood. It did not just eat meat. It broke open bones to suck out the marrow, leaving nothing behind. Alongside this massive bone crusher lived Smilodon, the famous saber-toothed cat. Its fossils show canine teeth that grew up to 28 centimeters long. These teeth were built like flat daggers, designed to slice through the throat of massive animals in seconds. There were also 12-foot-tall cave bears roaming the mountains, and giant hasts, eagles in the forests, which were large enough to drop from the sky and carry off a creature the size of a human. Our ancestors did not live in protected cages. They walked right alongside these monsters every day. They had to travel across open grasslands to find food, and they always had to return to water holes. But every predator on the savanna knew exactly where the water was. In 2018, a major archaeological study showed that ancient water sources were filled with the broken bones of early humans. Walking to get a drink of water was literally like walking straight into a deadly trap. So how did our soft, slow ancestors stay alive in this nightmare? They did it by using a simple trick of numbers. When you look at the math of survival, everything changes. Imagine a big cat looking through the bushes at night. If it sees one lonely human, it attacks immediately. But if it sees 25 humans standing close together, the situation changes. Some humans start screaming, others throw rocks, and some wave heavy sticks. Suddenly, the predator faces a huge risk. This is a real biological rule known as the dilution effect. By staying together in a tight group, your personal chance of being targeted drops to almost zero. You do not need to be faster than a giant hyena. You just need 24 other people standing ground right next to you. This group living was not just about hiding behind each other. It allowed early humans to use active defense. Anthropologists observing modern chimpanzees have seen them use a strategy called mobbing. When a leopard gets too close, the chimps do not run away. They form a screaming wall, throw heavy branches, and advance together. Early humans did the exact same thing. They created a massive wall of noise and flying stones. Apex predators are highly intelligent, and they are incredibly careful. If a lion takes a sharp rock to the eye or a wooden stick to the leg, it cannot hunt for weeks. In the wild, a broken leg or a deep wound means slow starvation. Predators want a clean, easy, low-risk kill. When a group of humans stands together and fights back, the predator's risk calculation completely falls apart. They decide the meal is not worth the pain turnaround and look for an easier target. Then humans discovered the ultimate weapon against the dark fire. Archaeological sites like the Wonderwork Cave in South Africa show that humans began controlling fire around 1 million years ago. This completely changed the rules of nature. Almost every animal on this planet has a deep fear of fire locked inside its nervous system. It is a primitive panic response that evolution carved into their brains over millions of years. Fire means uncontrollable danger. When a predator smells smoke, its instinct tells it to run. By keeping a campfire burning through the night, our ancestors built an invisible wall that no claw or fang could cross. A hunting cat relies completely on the dark to sneak up on its prey. Fire completely destroys that advantage. It throws bright light for 100 meters, exposing any predator trying to creep through the grass. The night, which used to be the most terrifying and deadly time for humans, suddenly became a place where we could rest. We started sleeping in shifts, keeping one person awake to guard the flames while the others closed their eyes. Fire also kept away deadly insects, killed dangerous bacteria when we cooked meat, and allowed us to harden the tips of our wooden spears. We stopped being a helpless species that the world happened to. We became a force that started happening to the world. When fire was hard to find, we used the landscape to stay alive. Before we could control flames, our ancestors spent their nights high up in the trees. Fossils of early human shoulder bones show they kept their incredible climbing abilities long after their feet adapted to walking on the ground. Sleeping in tree nests kept us safe from lions and hyenas, even though climbing leopards were still a threat. Later, we moved into deep rock caves. A cave gave us a perfect defensive position because we only had to watch one direction. But caves were not empty. They were already occupied by giant cave bears and cave lions. For thousands of years, humans and apex predators literally shared the same caves, taking turns living in the dark. Finally, our own strange bodies gave us an unbelievable advantage. Humans are terrible sprinters compared to big cats. A lion can hit 60 kilometers an hour easily. But if you ask that same lion to run at a steady pace under a hot 30-degree sun for 4 hours, it will collapse and die from heat stroke. Humans are endurance machines. We are hairless, and we sweat from our entire skin surface to cool down while we move, while other mammals have to stop and pant. Our upright walk uses very little energy. We could not outrun our predators in a short race, but we could literally walk them to death over long distances. We could chase them until their hearts gave out. But ask yourself, this was physical endurance, a campfire or a wooden stick, really enough to save us from extinction? Most people think so, but they are missing the true secret. All of those physical tools were just temporary fixes. Our real superpower was completely invisible, and it changed the rules of life forever. It was our ability to speak, to share abstract thoughts, and to tell stories. Before we developed complex language, knowledge was a lonely, fragile thing. Imagine a young human who wanders away from the group and gets attacked by a hidden predator. That terrible lesson dies right there with the victim. The rest of the tribe learns absolutely nothing, and they remain just as vulnerable as before. The predator wins because its species spends millions of years slowly upgrading its physical body, growing sharper teeth and faster muscles through natural selection. But language changed everything, turning an unfair biological game upside down. With words, a single survivor could run back to the campfire and map out the danger for everyone. They could describe the exact color of the predator, its hunting patterns, and where it likes to hide. We could warn our children about a threat they had never seen, and those children could pass that same warning down to their own kids. Suddenly, individual trauma became a shared, permanent network. Knowledge stopped dying with the individual. It accumulated, it grew, and it compounded over generations. Think about how terrifying that is for the rest of nature. While predators were stuck waiting for their DNA to slowly change over millions of years, humans were upgrading their survival software every single evening through simple conversation. We brought an ever-growing library of collective intelligence to a physical fight. Evolution never stood a chance against a species that could learn faster than biology could adapt. By 50,000 years ago, the tables had completely turned. The ancient landscape of fear reversed its direction as we began dominating the planet. We used our shared knowledge to clear forests, drive animal herds, and clear out the apex predators that used to hunt us. Within a few thousand years, the giant beasts that survived ice ages simply vanished. They could not fight a species that used social connection as a weapon. If you ever feel small, fragile, or completely overwhelmed by the crushing pressure of your modern life, remember this history. If you struggle with social anxiety, a restless mind, or terrible insomnia, your body is not broken. You are simply running that ancient, flawless survival software. Your ancestors made it through the dark because they worried about the future, stayed hyper-aware of danger, and absolutely feared being isolated from the tribe. You carry the blood of the most unstoppable survivors to ever walk this earth. We did not conquer the ancient world by being perfect. We did it by sticking together, sharing our deepest fears, and keeping the fire burning for each other. If this journey through our deep past brought you some comfort today, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Let us build a community where we can share our thoughts and find meaning together. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.